There was this one. I can't think of it. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But there was this one stat that Brandon had showed me. It was a minute ago too. Probably was when we still were living in Champaign, honestly. But there was a stat about like how much I'm gonna say either the administration or the White House or it was or it could have just been politics or something, or politicians, but it was some like party or particular group of people or whatever that spent a lot of money on like lobster or something.
It was the military. It was the military.
It was like millions of dollars.
Yeah, It was an article that came out that like the fucking it was like $2 million of expenses from the military budget was allocated to steak and lobster dinners.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
that's
on now. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing,
and it gives them more control because what it does is it gives them the headline: we canceled student loan debt. And like people are gonna be mad or people are gonna be happy off that. But I think even a lot of people who are mad off that aren't mad because of the long term effects of what's gonna happen. They're mad on some just like, well, they didn't get theirs. I don't want to pay for someone else's college. Fair. I sacrificed and saved up so I didn't have to go into debt. Fair. Those are all very valid, fair reasons. But I think they're mad about the immediate what they're seeing, what they're hearing. Right. They're not thinking, like you said, 20, 30 years, bro. If this isn't fixed, if people aren't like pushed in a new way, it's going to happen again.
Same exact thing.
They're not worried about the inflation that may be caused from this. They're not worried about the added debt that may be put on our federal budget because of this.
Rich people going to leave the United States if this shit keeps happening.
But to your point, the politicians are, because they know that the more
they are one step ahead. We think they're not thinking one step ahead, but they are thinking one step ahead.
But
okay, look at it this way.
But they're putting themselves in a good position for when everything finally can't handle it anymore. It can
turn into an extremely like political conversation, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Because I'm like, really, realistically, I'm like, that's what the government kind of is meant to do. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we were built to like, you know what I'm saying, be free from our government type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's originally what America's founded on, and like, you know, we got the government to kind of like monitor what we do and et cetera, et cetera. But really, it's like we're supposed to be capable of making our own decisions. That's why we have states and, you know what I'm saying, et cetera, and like have our freedoms and all that. But really, like the government at the end of the day definitely is like wants to be a step ahead of its citizens at all times.
Right.
So, I mean, it only makes sense that they are like, you know what I mean? Like it might seem like they're dumb, but it's like I feel like they're portraying that to us, you know what I'm saying? It's not 100%. Like they're really fucking dumb or really don't know what they're doing with their money. I feel like it's like,
and people who think they are naive as hell.
Yeah, exactly.
To think the government doesn't know what they're doing.
They're definitely
government
smart
knows
enough
what they're doing every step of the way. Like with the shit with the fucking when Joe Biden pulled out of Afghanistan early, the nigga knew what he was doing. He had plenty of advisors telling him.
I wouldn't say he knew what he was doing, but to your point, they as the body, they knew what they were doing.
Like all his administrators, advisors, counsel, whatever. The majority of the people who were around in that decision making knew what was going to happen if they pulled out early. So it's like, anyone who thinks government's dumb is naive and stupid to think they don't know what chess game they're fucking playing. You can't get there without knowing what you're doing. They got to be competent in some regard.
Yeah.
Right.
So like to your point, they're definitely one step ahead of everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally built upon that. Like, you know, at the end of the day, the government knew the citizens were supposed to be. It's supposed to be portrayed. I'm going to say that it's not a democracy, obviously, but, you know, it gets portrayed as like it's, you know, the people have the power. That's what always been, you know, the saying or whatever. And it's like, we do it to some extent, but it's like
the government
really. Knowing that the people have the power is all the more reason for them to always be one step ahead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
I mean, it's like there was one lady we were watching. I think it was a Caitlyn Bennett. Someone was saying like, oh, I don't like Donald Trump. Like, I just don't like the kind of guy he is. And me and Brandon were like, well, you're an average woman on the street. Of course, you're not going to like what kind of traits a man's going to have in order to be the president. It's like, in order to have those traits to run a fucking, to run a country or at least assist running a country, like you're going to have to be like fucking savvy as hell. You got to excel in some way to be like in that kind of role, in whatever role you're playing, help running the fucking country.
Right.
You got to be savvy, you know how to go to you got to be smart. You got to know how to fucking be one step ahead of the next person, your opponent.
Yeah. I think probably part of their strategy is being one step ahead, but making it seem like they're dumb and don't know what they're doing and kind of just fumbling the bag along the way.
Well, that's leverage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
maybe not leverage.
That's
maybe it's
Art of War, Sun Tzu.
Yeah.
That's one of his rules. Is like I forget I want to quote it, but it's essentially just like know what you're doing, but act like you're stupid.
Let your enemy think you're smarter than them, and in this case, it's not necessarily
they're smarter than you.
They're smarter than you.
Yeah. And in this case, it's not necessarily your enemy, but like the people who think they have the power. Let quote unquote the big dog, whether it's the big dog or not. Like in this case, the people control the power, like how Juno was saying. So in that case, they're technically the big dog because they have the influence of who gets elected. But like let the person in control think they've got the power, the intelligence over you. So that's definitely the card they're playing. You know, the government's playing their role.
Yeah.
Letting the masses think they have the power, letting them choose poor decisions and that benefit government.
Yeah.
Steering them in the exact directions they wanted to think, making them think it's their decision.
You said just, making things just okay enough for people to be able to live in society, not completely, fumble and go into chaos or whatever.
Yeah.
But
because if things got too good, people start looking around like, wait, what do we need government for?
Exactly. And that's always kind of been,
that's when the U.S. divides all states.
Exactly.
No, I don't think that's when it divides, but it's like, I think that's why they want to keep us divided as it is now, because I think it'd be easy. It'd be bad for them if we all came together in harmony.
Right.
You know, one big ass state.
Not even one big ass state. Just nobody's like got problems with each other. Like the whole left and right, like it's become so like polarized today. But I feel like, and we're obviously not, we're not old enough to like confirm this, but just from how my dad talks about it, it's like it was never so just like this way radical or the other way back in the day. Right. It was just like a lot of middle ground, and I feel like
because Dad said he's always I think he said at one point he was like maybe a conservative who would like occasionally vote for a liberal person.
Yeah, like because I mean like back in that day you actually had to be good at like I don't want to say you had to be good because politicians have like probably been bad forever, but like
notoriously been
you
bad
had to be
forever.
You had to be more skilled in the sense that you had to know how to navigate your own party of people and then the other party of people. Nowadays it's just like it's my party or it's your party. And like,
you just gotta make
I'm gonna run and get elected on the basis of fuck your party,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like people
and empty promises,
and empty promises, but more so just like my like I don't like y'all, like you guys are evil, and like my way of thinking is just pure and good. And so like obviously the people who think the same way as you are like, yeah, I love the way that you're like making it like you're a great figurehead for the way we believe, and we dislike the people who think the other way. And it's just like there's not an environment, and it's not an environment of compromise anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's my way is good, your way is morally evil.
Morally evil.
Yeah, like and then that's like it makes it so bad because once you deem that the person you're talking to or the other side is morally evil, then it's easy for you to tell yourself, well, I don't even have to like talk to them or like I don't even want to hear what they have to say. I don't even want to understand their side because they're just evil, and like I'm not gonna listen to some evil.
I'm not gonna stoop to their level.
Yeah,
like I'm better. You start to think you're better than them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that's how the right today feels about the left, and that's how the left feels about the right. It's just like one is bad, one is good, and like I'm not trying to hear what you have to say.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's the issue too, for sure.
Yeah. So